Welcome everyone to another episode of The Dungeon Crashers.
I'm Guy.
And I'm Zapeel. First off, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get that bell on if you want to be notified when we post new videos.
In last video, we said we'd be adding another member to our zoo crew, which are characters based on the various animal-themed races available in 5th edition. So far we have a lizard druid, a rabbit monk, and we cheated a little bit and used custom lineage to make a beaver artificer.
Yeah.
Today we need to get a little muscle in the group, so we're making a bull, specifically a Minotaur. Now the Minotaur appears in the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. It's one of the D&D Magic the Gathering crossovers. It also appears in the Theros and Amonkhet crossovers as well, but we're using the Ravnica version. This build is going to explore how to build a fairly common D&D archetype, which is the Polearm Master Great Weapon Fighter. This isn't new and many people have played it, but we want to firstly show how we would play this character, and also explain to newer players why this is so good, and how to go about doing it. I've seen this character done a lot of different ways, and there really isn't a right way, but we think this is a really good way, and also Minotaurs are just awesome. We also want to use the Rune Knight subclass of fighter, partly because it really suits itself to this style of combat, but also show that it can be good. When I first saw it, I thought it was a weak subclass. Interesting theme, but not a lot of substance. However, one of our group has been playing one, and it's surprisingly powerful. It doesn't have the versatility of the Eldritch Knight or the flair of the Battle Master, but just a lot of really solid abilities that add up to be better than they look on paper.
Yeah. The Minotaur is all about power, getting a +2 to strength and a +1 to constitution. These stats boosts will be good for most martial classes, but rangers, monks, paladins, there are better choices, but for fighters and barbarians, Minotaur is one of the best. They also, as you would expect, get horns. These are better than most natural weapons you see on player character races for a few reasons. First, the damage is pretty good, dealing a d6 where most other races only get a d4. Secondly, they get the abilities to support using the horns even at higher levels. One such is Goring Rush, which lets you use a bonus action attack with the horns after taking a dash action. This only works if you dash as an action, so the rogue bonus action dash doesn't apply here. This is still great even if you have to use the dash to get into melee range, which you will want to do since you're not going to be a very good ranged fighter. The second ability is Hammering Horns. This lets you use your horns to shove someone as a bonus action, after hitting them with an attack during your attack action. This doesn't specify if the initial attack has to be with the horns, so you can hit them with another weapon and shove them as a bonus action with your horns. The target does have to be within 5 feet of you, so using reach won't work. The opponent must make a strength save with this, and the DC has to be 8 plus proficiency plus your strength. If they fail, you can push them up to 10 feet. Unlike a normal shove, you can't use this to knock them prone, but it is still good. Minotaurs also have imposing presence, which gives them proficiency in persuasion or intimidation. We are taking intimidation. This is not going to be the face of the party, but he is still imposing.
Yeah. And for background, we're taking the Urban Bounty Hunter. For roleplay, I just like the idea of the big heavy armored Minotaur tracking down one in Crumbles. It also suits the theme of Ravnica, which is a city setting. It also gives us Thieves' Tools, which we want for an ability we'll get later. We aren't going to have a lot of dexterity, but we'll still be able to use these effectively. It also gives us a gaming set or a musical instrument, and I don't really see either of these as being much of a roleplay hook for this character, but then I realized cowbell is an instrument, and thought it was just too funny not to use. If you have a bard in the party, you can perform with him and have the DM have the crowd yell, "More cowbell!" It also gives us 2 skills from a list of Deception, Insight, Persuasion, and Stealth. I still don't see this character as persuasive, and we're going to be wearing heavy armor, so Stealth isn't really an option. So Insight and Deception are our best choices. That means socially we can bully people into giving us information, or lie our way past guards, and maybe know when the subject's lying to us. We won't have high charisma or wisdom, so we won't be the best at these things, but we do have the ability.
We are using point buy for abilities. Roll if you want. All you really need is strength and constitution, but negatives on anything but intelligence will be bad for us. We're putting 15 on strength, which will become 17 from the racial bonus. 10 on dexterity, 15 on constitution, that will become 16 with the racial bonus. 11 on wisdom, 8 on intelligence, because we really don't need it, and 12 on charisma. We get 2 charisma skills, and we want to be able to play that cowbell. You can easily switch wisdom and charisma around here if you would rather have perception, insight, and wisdom saves. We are taking charisma to be more menacing, but either way is good. For first level and every level, we'll be taking fighter. There isn't much need for multi-classing here, and we need the feats. We get second wind and a fighting style. We are going to take great weapon fighting, letting us re-roll 1s and 2s on damage with a two-handed weapon. For our weapon, we are taking a halberd. We want the reach, and we will eventually be taking polearm master. We will also take a pair of hand axes if we have someone we want to hit at range. But remember, we also have the option of dashing in and smacking them around with our horns. We are taking the heaviest armor we can, and eventually we want plate mail. We also get our thieves' tools and cowbell. At second level, we'll be taking fighter. We get action surge, letting us take a second action on our turn once per long rest. This is just an action, not a bonus action, so we can't use it with our bonus action horns.
And at third level, we get our martial archetype, which is Rune. They're a giant theme class based on drawing power from ancient giantish runes. When you take this class, you learn to speak giantish and gain proficiency with smith's tools. We get giant might, which we can use proficiency times for long rest, and each use lasts for a minute. While active, we grow to large size if we have room to do so. This doesn't grant reach, but it does increase our base, causing us to threaten more opponents. And with the reach from our halberd, this is a lot. We have advantage on strength checks and saves, and this will be handy if you want to use a shove action instead of the bonus action hammering horns in order to knock our opponents prone, which you're going to want to do pretty often. Prone opponents have disadvantage on attack rolls, half movement while prone, or need to spend half movement to stand up. And if you're within 5 feet of them, you have advantage on attacks against them. Unfortunately, if you're more than 5 feet away, your attacks against them have disadvantage, so don't use reach against prone opponents. Also, once on your turn, one of our attacks deals an extra d6 damage. We also get Rune Carver, which lets us apply runes to our equipment. That give us abilities. How many and how powerful runes we have depend on our class level. Right now we have 2. There's a list of runes in the class description, as well as a chart telling you how many you get. The runes are themed after the different types of giants.
Yeah. The first rune we want is the stone rune. While carrying this rune, we get 120 feet of dark vision, which is great. It seemed weird that Minotaurs, being a labyrinth-based creature, don't have dark vision, but this fixes that problem, and we get 120 feet of it, which is great range. We also have advantage on insight checks, and since we are proficient with it, we are going to be hard to fool. We also, all of the runes have an activated ability excuse me, that can be used once per rest. We get more uses at 15th level, but for now we have to make do with one, so use it wisely. But they are good enough to be useful, even if it's just once per rest. This rune uses your reaction. When a creature ends its turn within 30 feet of us, the creature is charmed unless it makes a wisdom save versus a DC 8 plus proficiency plus constitution modifier. Charmed creatures can't attack us or use harmful spells or abilities against us. Also, when charmed by this rune, the creature is in a dreamy stupor, and it has a movement reduced to 0. Also, a voice sounds out saying, "Finish him." Well, okay, I made that last part up, but you get the idea. The subject gets a new save at each of its turns, and if it saves, it breaks the charm. But nothing says saying that damaging it breaks the charm. So hit it while it's helpless. And since its move is 0, you can knock it prone, and it can't get back up.
Yeah. And our second rune is the fire rune. While carrying or wearing an item with this rune, we have double proficiency with any tools we use that we have proficiency with, like the thieves' tools we picked up at first level. Also, when you hit a creature with an attack, you can invoke the rune, summoning fiery shackles to restrain the target, which takes 2d6 extra fire damage, and must make a strength save or be restrained for 1 minute, during which time it takes 2d6 fire damage at the start of each of its turns. A restrained creature's move is 0 and can't get any boost to speed, so if you knock it down, it can't get back up again. But that isn't really necessary because restrained creatures have disadvantage on attacks, and attacks against them have advantage. They also have disadvantage on dexterity saves, which can make the casters in your party pretty happy. And it can make the strength save at the end of each of its turns to get free from the shackles. And at 4th level, we get an ability booster feat. And we're taking Heavy Armor Master. It gives us +1 to strength, making ours 18. And when wearing heavy armor, which we are, hopefully plate by this level, we take 3 less damage from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing attacks. This will help a lot with our durability. 3 may not seem like a lot, but it adds up really fast. And at 5th level, we get extra attack, giving us 2 attacks with our attack action. Combined with our now 18 strength and great weapon fighting, we should be doing really excellent damage in combat. And we have some skills and abilities which make us useful in roleplay situations.
At 6th level, we get another ability boost or feat, and we are taking Polearm Master. This lets us use our reaction to attack an opponent that enters within our reach. With 10-foot reach from our halberd and our large size, we should get a lot of opportunities to use this. Also, when we take the attack action, making at least 1 attack with our polearm, you can use a bonus action to make an attack with a half to the polearm, doing a d4 damage. This will further pump up our damage output. At 7th level, we get Runic Shield. When an ally within 60 feet is hit with an attack, we can use our reaction to force the attacker to reroll a d20. This can't be used on ourselves, and we have to be able to see the person that got hit. This is a great way to negate criticals against our friends. We can use this proficiency times per long rest. We also get another rune at this level, and it can be from a more powerful option if you choose. We want the Storm Rune. While wearing or carrying an item with this rune, we can't be surprised unless we are incapacitated and have advantage on our Arcana checks. That last part isn't really part of our skill set, but it could help in some situations. You can invoke the rune to enter a prolific state for 1 minute. During this time, when a creature makes an attack, ability check, or save, you can use your reaction to give them advantage or disadvantage on the roll. This has all sorts of uses, but one good use would be to help keep opponents from breaking free of the effects of your other runes. As with all other runes, we can only use this once per rest.
Yeah. And at 8th level, we get another ability booster feat. We're going to increase our constitution. Hit points are always welcome, and this sets the DC for our runes.
Yep.
At 9th level, we get our first use of Indomitable, allowing us to re-roll a failed save once per long rest, helping us keep us safe from some of the nasty things the monsters we encounter at this level are trying to do to us. And at 10th level, we gain Great Stature. We physically grow, adding 3d4 inches to our height. Since Minotaurs started over 6 feet tall anyway, we can be getting pretty big by now. And more importantly, the extra damage we deal with our Giant's Might ability increases to a d8. We also get another rune here, and we want the Hill Rune. When wearing or carrying an item inscribed with this rune, you have advantage on saves against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. And when you invoke the rune as a bonus action, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage for 1 minute, which should last a whole fight or more. Now we have Heavy Armor Master as well, so with this we're going to divide the damage from one of these sources in half, then subtract 3 from it. So if Big Scary Monster smacks us for 20 damage with Claw, we reduce that to 7 total. And this would apply to every attack that hits us, which deals one of these damage types.
At 11th level, we get another extra attack, making it 3. We also have our bonus action, half attack from Polearm Master, so we should be dealing incredible damage by now. We are also very tough to kill and have some pretty good support options. At 12th level, we get another ability booster feat, and we are going to take Great Weapon Master feat. This lets us make a bonus action attack after killing or critically hitting a creature. We already have a bonus action attack with our Polearm Master, but this lets us use the blade instead of the haft for more damage. The real reason we are here for this ability is to subtract 5 from our attack roll and add 10 to our damage roll. Because why do just incredible damage when you could do ridiculous damage? But this does make it more likely that you have to miss, that you could miss, and you have to judge when to use it to be worth using. One good time would be when you have advantage on attack against people you have trapped, prone, or restrained with one of your runes. At 13th level, we get another use of Indomitable, making it just a little bit safer against nastiness directed our way. At 14th level, we get another ability boost, and we are going to use it to cap off our strength at 20 for a better attack and damage, and making our Great Weapon Master more consistent.
Yeah. And at 15th level, you can invoke each rune you know twice per rest, so you have a lot more freedom to use them every fight, even multiple times in a fight. We also get our last rune here, and we're taking Cloud Rune. This gives us advantage on sleight of hands and deception checks. We probably won't be using sleight of hand, but we are proficient with deception and have a positive charisma modifier, so deception is becoming pretty useful.
Yeah.
We can also invoke the rune with reaction. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet are hit by an attack, choose another creature within 30 feet to be the target of the attack using the same roll that was made against the original target. And range doesn't matter as long as both targets are within 30 feet of you, but they can be any distance from each other. And at 16th level, we get another ability booster feat. And we're going to cap our constitution, maximizing the save DC for our runes and giving us a nice hit point boost. And at 17th level, we get another use of Indomitable, further protecting us from enemy shenanigans.
At 18th level, we become a runic juggernaut. Now when we use our Giant's Might, we become huge if possible and gain an extra 5 feet of reach, making it 15 with our halberd. At this point, we should threaten almost everyone in any fight. The extra damage we deal also goes up to a d10. At 19th level, we get our last ability booster feat, and we are going to take the Resilient with Wisdom, making our Wisdom 12 and giving us proficiency with Wisdom saves. This would have been nice a long time ago, but we really needed a lot more other stuff. So now if you rolled your scores and your Wisdom is at least a number, you could be better off taking something else here. The tough feat would really make you hard to kill. You could also take Sentinel to make your Polearm Master more efficient, or Fighting Initiate, gaining another fighting style to take Defensive, giving you a little more armor. There are a lot of ways you can go here. So finally at 20th level, we get one more extra attack, making it 4 total, plus our bonus attack. So hypothetically, if you hit with every attack and use Great Weapon Master, you could do over 100 damage in a round on average. So
yeah, the damage the character can do is just amazing. And it has a whole range of useful abilities in combat, in addition to just hitting things. It can protect its allies, restrain enemies, and just tank damage.
Yeah.
It also has some good utility outside of combat with thieves' tools and some social skills. I'm actually kind of embarrassed that I underrated this class before I saw it in action. Now, having seen someone play it and making a build around it, I think it might be one of the stronger martial archetypes. I also really enjoy the flavor of the Minotaur. I like how the racial abilities all work together. And if you want to play something that focuses on straight melee combat and does it really well, this is for you.
Yeah.
Now, flying enemies can be a problem,
Yeah.
but hopefully your DM will drop you some wing boots.
Yeah. Give it a little hint every now and again. We hope you enjoyed this video. Our game is pretty often open to unusual races, and this is something that someone could play and probably will. If you have any questions or comments or any build ideas, please leave them in the comment section below. We are interested in hearing how people are playing during this pandemic. We are still having our home game because we all know each other and we're in our own quarantine circles anyways. Guy and I work together and our other members are families, so a lot of people we know have switched to online platforms. We know people who started playing after the quarantine and have never played in person. Which platforms work for you? How do you go about scheduling your games? That sort of thing. Let us know in the comment section below. We would love to hear about it, get a discussion going. Next week, we're going to honor the upcoming Winter Olympics with this character theme around winter sports. So this might be a bit of a challenge, but it should be fun, so tune in next time for that. With that being said, until next time,
Cheers.